computer. Let's do it. Well, cool, man. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I was finally able to catch it. It seems like you're traveling all over the place. So where are you at right now?
I'm in Missouri.
Oh,
St.
okay.
Louis.
Are you out there for work, fun,
I'm,
family?
uh, I'm actually going to a seminar here. I also sell some products online and things like that. So it's more on that side of things that I'm up here for.
Okay, gotcha. And then you're recently in Puerto Rico, was it right? Did I get that right?
Right. I went to Port. Actually, we went to Puerto Rico, and the reason we went to Puerto Rico. Our realtor who sells a lot of our fixed out homes for us. It
Hmm.
was his birthday, so we went to Puerto Rico for his birthday.
That's awesome. So for everyone watching, hey, treat your realtor right. Take them to Puerto Rico.
Right.
Do more
I don't
deals
know. You
together.
don't have to do that, but treat people right, and they'll repay you.
I was
Definitely.
like, when you told me that, I was like, dang, I was like, usually I've only seen like happy hours or quarterly happy hours and stuff like that. You're straight up taking them to Puerto Rico. And man, he's one lucky realtor, man. And so what market are you in again? And do you work in, or do you kind of virtual and kind of do all over the place?
I primarily do I primary fix and flip in Polk County, which is Lakeland, Florida, kind of in
Okay.
between Orlando and Tampa. If anybody doesn't know where that's at, and we kind of wholesale between along the I-4 corridor, but we kind of stay. We don't really go major virtual out anywhere at this time. We pretty much stay Central Florida.
Okay. Right on. Right on. So obviously you've known Adam for so long. So what got you into real estate investing?
Well, initially, when I got into real estate investing, my uncle in North Carolina, where I'm from, in Charlotte, he bought quite a. He owned some rental properties and was kind of building a portfolio. And he was always telling me, "Hey, Jason, you need to get involved in this real estate." Every chance he got, he was telling me about it. So I started looking into it, and me and my dad actually did a couple. So initially, I didn't really flip, because I didn't know how to do that. So I met a gentleman who was pre the crash in 2008. So I would lend my money to, I pulled a home equity line. I would lend my money to a builder in Orlando. He would buy the lot and I would put the money up to build the house. And then when he was done, we would split the profit. We did that twice. And
Okay.
then we started a third one at the end of 2007. You can imagine what happened by the time we sold that one.
Oh,
Whatever we made in the first two, we lost in the third one.
oh boy.
So my first venture in real estate was a total, well, at first it seemed like it's going to be good, but then because I didn't know anything about market cycles, and well, of course, a lot of people got surprised by that one, but
Yeah.
but that was initially. But then 10 years ago, because when I say I've been doing it, I was playing with it back then. I didn't really do it. But 10 years ago, I actually was when I actually started my business to actually, do it seriously, not just treat it as a side hustle, but to take it seriously 10 years ago.
Okay. So after those first three deals, like you just said, you made good money on the first two, but then lost, their profits on that third one. What kind of kept you going after that point? Because, there's just a lot of people out there, whether it doesn't matter you're an investor or just an entrepreneur or business owner, usually, when you kind of get knocked on your butt, it's really hard to kind of get motivated to get back into it. Was it just because that kind of the crash kind of came and so you just saw that opportunity? Or were you kind of just dedicated, like, no, we've proven it before. It just happened to be market timing. Let's just keep going because, with the market shift, we know we can be successful down the road.
So actually, after that happened in 2008, I didn't really do much until we got until like the end of 2009 kind of area, because
Okay.
I actually, to be honest with you, about a year and a half, I didn't do that much because naturally I was a little afraid, right?
Okay.
But then me and my dad also, leading up to the point we started a business, we actually did a couple flips on our own, like fix and flips. And it was basically the same kind of situation. So we did where I was loading my money and worked for a couple times and lost it. Then me and my dad we did good on like one and then we didn't do so good on another. So we kind of were like swimming around. So, but it's because we weren't treating it like a business. We're treating it more like a side hustle. Because even if it is your side hustle, you got to take it seriously if you ever want to grow anything that's going to really impact your life and those around you. So, but then I guess the difference was in early 2010 when I was actually no early in 2010 I guess, I kind of a light flip switch in my head. I said, I'm done playing with this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it right. And then starting in 2010, we closed 10 deals in the first year. So once I turned that whole mindset from treating it as something I'm doing on the side and being, happy and then discouraged because it worked on and off, I said, you know what, if this is going to work, not every deal's going to be a home run. We're going to have some run into some problems. So we got to just take it serious and run through some deals. So in the first year, I think all we did was wholesale, except for we did 2 fix and flips the first year. And the rest of it, right at the early in the year, it was all wholesale. And then we started fix and flipping towards the middle of the year that year.
Right on. And how were you kind of getting the leads back then, I guess, before you came across Smarter Contact and started implementing texting?
Oh, well, way back, and originally, I know this surprised a lot of people because people don't use them that much anymore. But my first year, the whole 10 deals that we did that year were from bandit signs, which is incredible. It's hard to do that anymore. I don't know. I guess back then, now the switch has totally changed where a lot of people are searching for, when they start to sell their homes, more online. It wasn't as much back then, but it's gotten so much more of that. So the bandit signs worked better back then. But before I started doing Smarter Contact, we always did real heavy direct mail. And as you know, that's very, very expensive. Because we were doing, if you do any volume in direct mail, it's going to cost you some money, right?
Yep.
So the first year we did bandit signs, and then we added direct mail. And most of our strategy up until the last a couple of years was really heavy on the direct mail.
Okay. Right on. And because, direct mail back then was, there was not as many people using it as well too. So of course, like a lot of homeowners weren't getting drowned in the yellow card, or the yellow card wasn't a well-known postcard. Now today, or at least in like the last 5 years, it's, use the yellow card. It works. So now you got all these kind of brand new guys using it, and certain homeowners getting with 10 postcards all looking the same.
Yeah. It's just the kind of luck of the draw where they actually decide to call yours or not. Or if first of all, they're going to call any, and then if they do call, they're going to call yours, right?
Yeah. So since you kind of how did you stumble upon? Obviously, you briefly told me before that you kind of met Adam at AREA. And what made you stumble upon text message marketing and kind of start branching and adding that marketing channel into your mix?
Well, the reason we looked into it is specifically initially because of the cost difference between direct mail and texting stuff, because we still do some mail to some niche smaller lists, but we don't do it massive mail like we used to. So we saw it as a way to connect more with homeowners at a much cheaper cost. But when I decided to do it, I knew Adam, but actually until maybe 3 years ago, I didn't realize that Smarter Contact was him. I didn't know he started. I just knew it was a thing out there. So I wasn't using text at the time. So, but more and more I saw the trend happening, and I said, I don't want to get behind the 8 ball on this. And it's much cheaper. So I researched, and from everything I could research, I actually talked to Adam a couple times, but from everything I researched, that Smarter Contact just had the highest deliverability rate. I researched everybody. And Smarter Contact came with, promises. And after talking to Adam, tell me about it, that, there's just actually a much higher deliverability rate. Now, the interesting thing is a lot of people that I know are going out there, especially newer investors, they're going out and doing like a pay-as-you-go type thing, because those things are out there. But you don't get near the quality of deliverability and things like that from those as you do the Smarter Contact. From my experience and what I've seen in my research and what others have used, it's just the highest deliverability rate that I've seen in any software at all. So
nice. And how has the results paid out since then?
Very well. We really went heavy. So I started using, testing, I guess you say, testing the text messaging probably in the middle of the year in 2009, right? Not 2009, 2019. I got my wrong decade. But, so I started testing and looking at it. And it took me, so I was working on trying to get it dialed in. And then once I got it all figured out, got it set up the way I wanted it, I'll tell you about a mistake I made when I first started using it. I had like a list of 6,000, and I meant to send it as a campaign, and I wasn't paying attention. So like one of the first times I used it, so I sent like 6,000 texts in like 10 minutes.
Oh,
So, but and I got so many. I was like, man, I couldn't even keep up with them. But we did get a deal from that first
nice.
thing, even though I accidentally. So I got to dial in and fix that problem. But what we've done, we send about 2,000 texts a day, and I know there's a lot of people do a lot more volume than that. But we also, on top of the texting, we also have VAs that are cold calling for us, things like that. Also, so the same list we're texting, we're also cold calling. It's always best, use a couple different forms of marketing. But we've done a lot of deals just came straight from the text. So I guess in February I did a deal where so I was texting back and forth, and the person I was talking about, they own 3 lots, and those and I put under contract, never even went to look at the lots because it's land and it was cheap enough. So we made there was same homeowner, 3 different properties, but we made like $17,000, and that was off sending and that came after sending probably about 4,000 texts.
Okay. Nice.
So, and that's, so the thing is, we've done with like 3 different types of deals. So we did wholesale land. And what I want to say is we closed a lot of deals this year, but several notable ones from the text was the land where we made $17,000. And we also bought a house that we fixed and flipped, and we made like about $64,500 after we fixed it and sold it. And that was also from a text. And we currently have a property we're working on that was a fire damage house. But we purchased it and are fixing it. And it's based on our preliminary numbers, we're just getting started because we had to the roof was messed up. So we had to get engineered drawings and things for the property. But we're looking at probably close to 6 figures of profit on that one.
Whew. Nice, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
do you
notable ones.
Yeah. Do you target land that's kind of like vacant land much, or especially kind of have a list of maybe kind of fire damage homes?
We don't specifically focus on fire damage. I do know someone who's a firefighter, so I could ask him, is there anything new in the area? but that sounds morbid, right?
That's give him the driving for dollars app and be like, hey, dude, just drop a pin next time you get a call.
But I'm sorry, I lost the question. What was the question again?
Oh yeah, the question was, do you kind of have maybe separate lists to where you kind of do target fire damage or vacant land type of homeowners?
We do focus on vacant land deals because they're, especially right now, while the market's still high, and at some point it's going to adjust. But right now, the new construction is still going fairly strong at the moment. So as long as that's going strong, and even when it drops down, even if you have to hold on to it for a while, it can turn into a great deal. So we do specifically go after vacant land because it's first of all, if we're wholesaling, it's a very easy transaction. It's just land. There's not as many, unless, you got to pay attention if it's a builder, how many trees are on the lot, things like that. But most of the land that we sell is like infield lots, so they're already subdivided. And those are super easy to wholesale. You don't have to look at them. All you got to see is the dimensions of the lot, whether it's wooded or has any trees on it. And then a good builder can make a decision pretty quick on a piece of land, infield lot, I should say.
Nice. Let's see here. In the last couple of years, have you had any interesting, out of the ordinary deals that you've come across?
Well, one of the deals we did this year from the text, I would say is quite interesting. So we bought a small frame house. This is actually the one we made like $64,500, something like that on it. $64,500. I don't have the numbers at penny in my head or in front of me right now, but somewhere around $64,500. But what happened was, so it came through a text. So the owner hadn't seen the house in years. So I actually myself on this one, I went out to meet the gentleman's stepfather to look at the house. So I showed up at the house, and there's this little red PT Cruiser in the front yard. I was like, there's a car here. He said the house was vacant. So it turned out there were squatters in the house. So I meet the father-in-law, and speaking to him for a minute. We walk up to the front porch, and he knocks on the door, and this probably late 20s, early 30s lady answered the door, and he said, "Who gave you permission to be in the property?" He said, "Oh, my boyfriend." He said, "Well, who is your boyfriend?" "My son owns this property." So as we're doing this guy's walking down towards us in this like Nike jumpsuit, and comes up and says, "Oh, how may I help you? This is my house." And the guy said, "No, this is my son's house." So so it was a good negotiation. One of the reasons we made it was an extra amount of money is it was good negotiation for us, because we went back and said, "Hey, we want to buy this property. We got to buy cheaper." So what we did is, and the way you get cheap properties is to deal with problems. So we bought the property with the squatter in the house. So that delayed the project, obviously. So it took us about a month and a half to get them out. We didn't actually evict them, though. So they need a little time because they did have kids and stuff. And as much as I hate the fact they were squatting, you just can't put somebody with kids out on the street. So we gave them 6 weeks, and I think we gave them a check for like $500 to help them move. So at the end of the day, that's a lot cheaper and shorter than evicting somebody. So we just gave them cash for keys, basically. Just here's some money to go.
Definitely.
But it ended up being interesting, because as our guy was working on it, a couple times he showed up asking where stuff was at. He said, and our handyman just said, "I don't know. You have to call Jason Farrow, somebody at the company." He said, "I don't know. I'm just here to fix the house." But he did show up a few more times, and getting him out was not the easiest. We had to it took us a couple trips there to try to convince him to take the cash and go, because he had this whole sob story talking about he did all this work to the house, but he didn't, because the homeowner said whatever work he said he did is stuff that we did a few years ago. He said because we actually came in and renovated a little bit, we just never did anything with it, and he ended up with a squatter. So that was quite interesting, but it turned into a great deal because of the squatter situation.
Yeah. So thank you, squatters. That's the first story I've heard where it was a good thing they had a squatter so they can make more money off of it.
It's always good. It's negotiation. I get a cheap house.
Oh, man. Yeah. All right. Couple quick questions for you, man. What makes you love doing real estate?
Well, because I do a lot of fix and flip, I do like to see the transformation in a home. And I realize on the fix and flip side what we do, because probably the biggest portion of our business is the fix and flip right now in our business. So I would say that just seeing the transformation and knowing we're making a difference in that neighborhood. And even if we're wholesaling properties to an investor who's going to take care of that, we're not just making money, but we're bringing value. We're improving the neighborhood. We're changing. I mean, there's a particular street in Lakeland where we renovated 3 houses on the street.
Oh, wow.
And as we renovated the house, we were setting the comps and raising the value in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So we actually did on the very exact same street. So we picked up one house from a wholesaler. We picked up another one down the street because he had a for sale by owner sign in the front yard. And then the next one, and then we got the other one from a direct mail campaign. So we did 3 houses on that street, and in that general neighborhood, we like fix and flip like 10 houses. So we really made a difference in that neighborhood, and the values rose, and people had getting better neighbors and cleaner houses because houses just needed a lot of help that we bought. So it helps improve the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's awesome. After that, do you just knock on every single door and be like, "Hey, we're buying this whole neighborhood. You want an offer?"
Well, when we find a spot that we know is profitable for us, it just seems that because that area we still do a lot of deals there. For some reason, our marketing works very well in that specific area. Mm-hmm. It's like a blue collar, a little under the median type of area. So that means there is a lot of buyer competition sometimes because the price points are lower. And in Polk County, we have price points. We can still buy stuff for under $200 over here. So
oh, wow.
There's not much over in Tampa where you can get that cheap over there, but
can't get nothing like that in California.
Oh,
Your
wow. That's
dream.
right. Well, California
Yeah.
can't get nothing for that's like $500,000 for a
Dude,
lot,
two
right?
200. I think you can get. I don't even know, dude. You might as well just get an RV out here, to be
You can't even
honest.
get the land for that, right?
No, not even.
Um, but yeah, so we focus on a lot of those, working class type neighborhoods because it works well. It always worked well for us. So we do pinpoint areas. So, we may, we'll send out direct mail. If it's a really specific area we're looking, we'll also send out mail, text, cold call, and even in specific neighborhoods, we don't do a lot of bandit signs, but because it worked for me way past, I still have a habit of, if I really like an area, we'll have somebody go out and scatter around some bandit signs, about once a month to generate a little bit of I guess brand awareness in that local area there. But so we do tend to target specific zip codes and things like that work for us.
Nice, nice. So you've been in the game for a long time. You've seen the market swing in both directions. What have been, whether the top two, top three, some of the top lessons that you've learned that any investor, whether new in the game or seasonal vet like yourself, should definitely learn, or a skill set they should definitely have?
Well, things you learn is you very much have to learn to overcome adversity, because it doesn't matter who you are. You're gonna if you buy enough houses, you're gonna buy the wrong one at some point, and it's gonna challenge you. And sometimes those challenges houses can turn into really good deals, but you're gonna run into challenges. But I guess as far as a skill set is, it's good skill set. Good skill set, I feel like, is probably more important than some people make it, is negotiation, because there's software like the Smarter Contact, where you can, if you can send strategic messages, but at some point you or someone in your company is going to be on the phone with that person.
Yep.
And you have to learn, whether it's read, study, but negotiation can be the difference between being competitive or not. Because if someone else is always out negotiating you, then or you're passing up deals because the deal was there, you just didn't know how to approach it or the best way to do that. So I think probably one of the key skills to learn as an investor, and it's a learned skill. It's not like you don't have to, like you're born with it. You can read and study and learn it, but it's got to be negotiation.
Definitely. All right, last question to wrap it up. For anyone watching this, they get motivated by you, they want to jump into wholesaling land, or just get into real estate investing, what advice would you give to them?
Don't just fill your head with knowledge, take action. I was talking to a gentleman not too long ago that I actually met through a mutual friend, and he's interested in doing real estate investing. He's in the corporate world now, but I said, well, why aren't you just doing it? That's my question. He kept talking to me about it. And he said, well, I listen to podcasts, I watch YouTube videos, do all this stuff. I said, well, what have you done?
Yeah.
It's all right to fool you in a head full of knowledge. But what I would say is pick a strategy, and preferably a strategy like text messaging that's going to be a low cost entry. I mean, because you can send text for depending on what package you get. We have the elites, so you send it with 2 cents a text compared to 50 cents for a postcard. So pick a low cost strategy and take action. I mean, work hard at it. So, because people have the shiny object syndrome. I see all these different strategies. Pick a strategy of real estate that you feel really interests you and focus on it, and start marketing to build that, and use a low cost platform similar to Smarter Contact, because it's just a cheaper entry into the business as far as marketing. To me, there's no cheaper form of marketing out there at this point.
No, there's definitely not. And I completely agree. When it comes to just, I think, business, being an entrepreneur, and any form of real estate, it's there's tons of books. There's, an ever-ending list of podcasts. And yeah, you can definitely learn things on YouTube. And this is going to go on YouTube and definitely teach people stuff. But obviously the best form is actually getting your hands dirty and doing it. And of course, the biggest lessons you'll learn are sometimes from the failures that you come across as well too. You don't know how to do it correctly if you screw up or do it wrongly.
Right. The best teacher is action.
Yep.
Because fail, win, whatever happens, you learn and you advance because of the action. So action is the best teacher. I'm not saying you ought to go half cocked, not having any idea what you're doing, but at some
Yeah.
point, people just talk about it and fill their head full of knowledge, just never do anything. So,
Mhm.
man, forward motion towards a worthy goal, whether you fail along the way or not, is going to end up in success as long as you consistently make that forward motion towards a worthy goal. You know what I mean? So it's
Yep. Dude, that's awesome. Well, cool, man. Well, thank you so much. I won't take any longer. This was awesome. Glad I was finally able to catch you.
yeah,
And maybe when you're not so busy, we can do it again in the future, and you can share some more stories with us.
absolutely. Be glad to.
All right, awesome, Jason. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later, man.
All right. Thanks, Daniel.
All right, see ya.